Hey guys, welcome to a new video. We're going to do a video on animation and how that works inside a game. So this is my game over here. My scene is, you've all seen it before, it's this little town that I made. And if we remember from the previous video, we have our player movement, we have a jump, we can't jump in air. And that is about all. We can jump diagonally. We can jump diagonally. This is the one where we're playing around with, we talked about the ability to, change direction and stuff like that, but we didn't actually get around to doing it. But we didn't, I've deactivated that change in direction, sorry, we did do it. So if we go to my character, who is under characters, main character, we're actually just going to turn up our movement speed a little bit to 200. Just so he's a little bit faster. There we go. Awesome. Now, if you remember, this is the bit of a dirty script because we've got all the old movement types. But we currently have our jump script, we have our change, flipping our character script, and we have our movement script, which we're using the velocity methodology here. Okay, so let's go back into our game. Now, if we want to animate our character, there's a couple of steps to it. Okay, so first you want to select your character, and you want to go window, and you want to come down to animation, and there's two things you need. You need an animation, and you need an animator. So let's click animation first, and we're going to dock it down here with our things. And then you need an animator. So you're going to go Windows, Animations, and click Animator. And that's going to create this, and I'm going to dock this over here. And I'm actually going to enlarge this a little bit and minimize this, okay? Now, the third kind of final thing you need is obviously you need what's called an animations sheet. Now, I'm going to, we're going to look at in-game view. It'll probably be easier. Hopefully, we'll see. So, if you go into our, asset packs, our, original online asset packs, and, my favorite asset pack, the 2D character family. If you go into the sprites, you see that they all come with their own, animation sheet where they have the different movements, right? And obviously this one is made for, we have a walking forward, a walking back, a walking sideways, and a walking right kind of animation. Now, this is a sprite sheet animation, so like you have each step of the walk drawn. There is another type of animation called skeletal animation. I've never done it before, and it only really works if you've created the characters using a vector drawing mechanism, such as Illustrator, and that you can animate by like dragging each vector into position as they move. I haven't done it. I'll have a look online and see if I can see a video and give it to you guys, but I've never done it that way because I can't draw using Illustrator. Well, I can't draw flat, so if you're using pixel art and stuff like that, you kind of have to use this sprite sheet animation style. So that's my animation, my things there, okay? So, it's rather simple, basically. If I just select all of, let's say, the walking ones in this direction, because you can see he has, there's actually 4 of them, just like that. And I can drag. Oh, it's actually probably better if I dock this animator somewhere else. Or it'll work better if you've had. I'm just gonna dock it like this for now. Oh, maybe we can do it different. We'll see how we go. We'll dock it back down here. So you go create animation. It's gonna ask you to create a folder. I'm gonna obviously do a new folder called animations. And then you select that and you open, okay? And let's say we're going to call this movement. Okay, and press save. Awesome. Now, if we... Well, actually, you know what? I actually reckon the animator might dock really well here. Oh, we'll see. No, I don't know if it will. Okay, so we have our animator, right? Now, if we I'm gonna dock the project here for now. Maybe that'll work better. You'll have to play around with how you dock. If I drag them into the animator like this and you press play, you'll see I've basically just dragged the 4 pictures onto the thing. Now you can do it that way, or if I delete that, you can drag them one at a time. So, oh, I accidentally select all of them still. Delete. Okay, so you can drag them just selecting one at a time, and then you can kind of space them out a little bit if you want that way, or you can drag them all at once. See, and now if we press play, he's doing his animation. See? And then you can kind of space them out. So let's say we want them to walk slower, we can just drag them to their like spacing. And then press play to see what it looks like. Let's say you're happy with that, right? Now, that is now we'll drag our project back down here. So if I press play now in the game, he's gonna default do that. Okay? The first animation you create is set as always happening. It's the trend if you it's set as like your idle. So if I go and so that's kind of what automatically default happens. So like you don't have to set any transition to it, it just happens, right? So if you want to do an idle animation, like I don't know, make them blink or, you know, tap their foot or like move up and down, it's easier if you make that your first animation. That's like the easiest way to do it. But obviously we don't want this to be our default animation. Yeah, so that's kind of, you can do that a couple of ways. You can, to stop it from being the default animation, let's go back to our character, sorry, and our main character. We can create a new clip. And obviously we'll go back to our assets and save that into animation. I'm going to call this idle. And then I'm going to drag that. I'm going to leave the project here for a while. And I'm literally just going to have it. So if I press play, like that, it's just one kind of single pose. You could have it, I don't know, like if you want to be a bit creative, you could like, you know, have an idle animation that's like, I don't know, where he's kind of, that's way, like you could even like really branch them out. I don't know. You can get creative if you want, like, let's say, let's do this, right? I don't know. And then the way this would play is he'd stand. That's probably a bit too quick. Oh yeah, if you don't want him to go straight back, you can do this. Like I could drag this and have that like over there, right, like that. So this will look like he'll stay looking for a while. But let's say like, or you can add like stop locations. But let's say let's drag this out even further. Let's say you want a minute-long animation, right? And basically, looks like this. He's sitting there for a while. And he kind of like, looks around a little bit maybe. I don't know. It looks a bit weird, I know. But anyway, that's an idea of something you could do. Or, having him look around or something like that. But I'm just going to have this idle animation. And now we have, I call it idle, okay? So let's stop pressing play. And now if I set this layer as default, if I press play, now, he's just default sitting like that, right? Now, I want this movement one. So this is my default, this idle, and I want to make a transition to and make a transition back to our idle. Now, if I click on this, if I double click on it, I think it's going to work here. Under my inspector, I have idle to movement. Okay, this is why some people like putting the animator here. So then you put the animator here. Then if I double click on this, you can see like that. And then move my project back down here. I know, I'm just moving windows all over. So you can see at the moment that if I press play in the game, on the animator, they're just, he's default transitioning to this movement and then back. So you can see the game. Okay, now you press stop. If we go to the animator and we look at what's causing the transition, at the moment, we have transition duration 25 seconds, and there's no condition to the transition. So if we open this up, actually -1, we can set a condition to our transition, basically, right? So under parameters, we're going to add a float. I'm going to call this speed. I'm going to go, we set it to 0, right? Speed. Now, if we set it over here, under parameters, we can select speed, and we can say when it's greater than 0.01, and then we can go transition 0, and we say has no exit time, and transition duration. Let's go that 0 as well, right? We'll hit immediately transitions at that. And then for this one here, we can say add is less than 0.1. 0.1. Okay, so now if we go into game and press play, he's not transitioning automatically because, as you can see, these transition conditions are never being met. Okay, hopefully that. So we've made 2 parameters. Speed is the name of it's a float called speed. We said it only makes these transitions when speed is greater than 0.01 or less than 0.01. So it only moves from this animation to this animation when that condition is met. Okay. So if we go into our scripts now over here, and we come up here and we create a public animator. And we call it player animator, and we close it off, right? Just like we've done with the rigid body or the transform, and then we press save. Okay. Now, if we come in, wrong window, if we come into our player, and we click on our main character now, you can see now he has a player animator, which gets added to him to default the second you give him animations. So if we just drag this into this window here now, now we can play and press save again. Now inside our script, we can play around with this animator. Now what we can do is when we take his horizontal mover from him, we can set our speed to it, right? So that way, you know, that speed variable, remember what our horizontal move does, as you hold down D, it becomes positive 1. As you hold down A, it becomes, it becomes negative 1, right? So that's meeting that 0.01 condition, basically, right? He's only moving when horizontal move is greater than 0 or less than 0, right? So, but remember that less than 0 part is important, okay? So let's say if we come down here. Now also, we want to take into account the fact that we don't want to be able to move in the air either, but we'll get into that, right? So, I mean, there's a couple of ways we can fix that. We're only actually moving when we're on the ground, right? So we could try, I mean, we could try it now. So if ground jumping equals true, and we can set it down here, right? So if we go player animator, right, dot set float, because it's a float that we created, and then we use brackets. Now you need to name it right exactly as you named it. We named it speed. And then you press a comma and then what you're setting it to, right? Horizontal move. Okay. And then obviously we're missing this. Now we only want to do this, like let's say if we put this, we take that, sorry. And we put it here. Like that. And now we press save. Let's see if that works. Okay, into our game. We press play. See? But it doesn't work backwards right now. Now there's a couple of ways you can, he's walking. Now if he's jumping, what happens if he's jumping sideways? Yeah, he kind of faces. So maybe we don't want to, I don't know. We'll have to discuss what happens with jumping. Maybe we do want a separate jump animation. But as he's looking backwards at the moment, he's not, right? So we need to take into account the absolute value of this. So we need to use some absolute value. Horizontal move. And then we need to make this the absolute value, okay? Now, how do we do that? Now, the way we do that is using these math F functions. So if we come into here and we put a space, there's math F dot. Now, this lets you do a bunch of mathematical functions. And obviously, the one we want right now is this absolute. But you can kind of have a look through at what they are. There's a whole bunch of them. Logging and stuff like that. But in this particular case, we want to use the absolute value, and then you just want to put some brackets around horizontal move, okay? And that's basically taking the absolute value. So if you're not good at math and you forgot what absolute value is, it means if it's a positive, it leaves it positive. If it's a negative, it makes it a positive, okay? So pressing save now and coming into our game. And now if we press play now, my computer's going to lag out a bit. Oh, we're getting there. You can see we're moving and we're moving. It's really that simple, right? Like, that's super simple. Obviously, I don't know if you can kind of see this. We do have a little bit of an issue right now, which is that my, it's bugging me a little bit, but, can you see how, he's moving, because of the way the pictures were drawn. They're not quite in line. Now, there's a couple of ways we could fix that. Now, if we come into our main character and we go into our inspector, now we press play. Oh, it's not going to work like that. No, if we do it like this, we want to go back. We want to go side by side, and we want to drag this one on this, and we're going to drag the game over here and the scene over here. Okay, so now we have a side by side view. You can see if I press play, the images aren't aligned. I don't know if you can see that. This image is slightly higher than the other image. Now, so there's a couple of things you could do. You could edit the physical images, is one way, and probably the easiest way. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm probably going to cheat slightly, and I'm just going to drag this back into here so it's one screen. Is in the scene, I'm going to zoom in on the main character. I am going to change his circle collider on his feet to be a little bit higher. So now when we press play, he looks fine. It just looks like his feet's a little bit like, I don't know. I think this looks better. It doesn't look as obvious as when he was floating. It just means when he's sitting still, he looks like he's kind of like his feet are like on the edge or something. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm fixing it. It's not a perfect situation. Okay, so now with jumping, what you could do, and if you go back to our character, what does it say? He has no animations. He has lots of animations. We could add a jumping animation, basically, right? If he's jumping sideways. So what pointing out that, notice that I didn't make a 1 for either direction because I'm flipping my character. I didn't need to. If you didn't flip your character, you'd obviously have to make an animation that faces backwards. But because I'm flipping my character, I don't need to. It's just something to think about. Flipping the character. Because remember, that's how I did it. Okay, he jumps fine. Then the issues we have at the moment is if he... Oh no, that actually works. We don't need a... The only thing happens if you kind of like... If you jump like that, it's fine. But he's walking in the air while he's jumping, okay? Now, so we need to kind of... There's a couple of things we need to fix, right? Obviously, at the moment, if I'm walking and I hold jump, we kind of want him to still face the direction that he's jumping. Maybe? Or, I don't know. Or we could just set it so that if he's jumping, he always is just kind of like that straight flat. I don't know. It's up to you. So what you could do is go into our animator and then create, and then click on our main character, and we could create a new clip and in our animations pack, and we could call this jumping, and press save, and now we have this jumping animation, right? And if we drag our project panel up here and we go into our asset packs, original 2D character, sprites, and just drag this in here, like that. You could have it so that, and then that's it. Like you could just go super simple like that. We have a new animation called jumping like this over here. I'll try and zoom on it a little bit so you can see it better. It doesn't zoom very well though because it doesn't. It zooms better like that. Yeah, it zooms very horribly, obviously. If you can kind of see, we've got this jumping one now, and we could go from any state. So this happens no matter where they are in this chain. If they're here, 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 or however many animations, if this transition happens, if you make transitions from any state, it'll always make this. So you could do this from any state. Oh, what have I done? Oh, you can transition back to idle, right? Oh. You can't transition back to any state. I think we just transition back to idle, right? I think that's our best option in this particular case. Okay. So you can create a new parameter, and we can create a Boolean, and we can call it what should we call it? On ground. Let's call it on ground. No, because we've already got one called on ground. No, yeah, I mean, let's call it jumping. Okay, let's call it jumping. Okay, and we can say, basically, condition. Add a condition. If jumping is true, we transition. If jumping is false, transition that way, okay? Let's see how this works. This is me attempting to do it really simply, basically, okay? So go back into our game at the moment. Obviously, that condition is never being met. Like let's dock this over here. If I walk, we're going that walk, stopping. If I jump, now if I jump, you can see I've got this animation going, right? So let's see how that goes. Let's see if I go into my code and I come in here. Now we're only jumping if on the ground equals true, right? So if we take what we did to our animator and we take it and we put it in here. So remember, we've created this animator, and then we're saying, where is it? Where is my? Why have I lost my code? We're saying if jumping equals false and on ground equals true, then we're setting it to this, right? Now, oh, see, that's another thing we could do, actually. Yep, okay. If we take in here and jumping equals true and on ground equals true, we could go like this. Player animator dot we want to go set bool, and then we want to go like this, and then the boolean is called jumping, I think, and then we want to go set it to true, right? And obviously we need to set it to false. So if I take this and I press Control C, and then on collision enter, we want to go false. Or actually, rather than ever even doing it here, we might just double do it here. And then set it to... oh, no. We need to do it there. No, I was right. Okay. So we do it. So, what have I done? Oh, my computer's so lagging today. Yeah, so jumping equals true. And then, this is enter collision with ground. We want to do this down here. What did I just do that? There, okay. So click save. So basically we're saying player animator when the player's jumping, because this is, remember from our previous video, this is saying if jumping equals false and on ground equals true, so they're standing on the ground and we're not pressing jump, we're setting their animator to move. If they are jumping and they're on the ground, we're setting the player animator to jumping. And when they land on the ground, which is here, we're setting jumping equals false, okay? So we're going to press save here, and we're going to do one quick little change, okay? We're going to come into here. Now, you can actually set two. So we're going to drag our animator back over here. Lots of dragging around. We can actually set two conditions. So we're also going to say you transition. Oh no, we don't need to. We actually don't need to set it on the reverse, just on the forward transition. You only transition there if speed is greater than 0.1 and jumping is false. Let's see if that works. I'm hoping that this is really simple. You can do it using events, which is, hit the mic, a little bit harder, but I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. Okay. Actually, first we want to drag our animator so we can see what's happening. Why, computer, today are you doing this? I think it needs a restart. Okay, press play. So we had our idle animation, walking animation, backwards walking animation, jump. Awesome. Oh, okay, we got an issue at the moment now where so what seems to be happening is this is ending early. So they're jumping and then it's stopping. So he's jumping and then it's... Did I not set this transition? I don't know if I set this transition. No, jumping equals false. Do I have... Has exit time? No. Transition duration? 0. Let's try that. I think I might have... Let's just... we don't want exit times. Exit times like if you want it to finish its animation first. Basically, let's try... if jumping equals false... Okay, let's see if that fixes it. Okay, just setting those to 0. No. So now it's instantly transitioning, isn't it? Yeah, I think... we need to work out why something's happening here. Something's about untick fixed duration. No. Interesting. Okay. Well, we're going to have to problem shoot this, aren't we? For some reason, this animation is just instantly transitioning. But it shouldn't be. Am I setting jumping to false somewhere wrong? Oh, I'm setting on exit. I do want to set it on enter. Why do I... I thought is that simply what I... let's see. If that's it, I'm going to be super grumpy. Because I don't know why. Let's see. Yeah, so this way you've got like you do have that kind of sideways job, but now you don't have the walking jump. Now what you could do is, it would be super frustrating, but you could have it so that you always have that, like, you're facing sideways maybe if you wanted to. But you'd have to have it transitioning a little bit different. I don't mind that. Like, it's a bit lame, but yeah. You play around with your animations. Like, let's say if you wanted to have it sideways, you'd have to have it like 0 and greater than 0.1 movement. I don't know, like if you did, let's say you could have, or let's quickly play around with the idea. Let's say you go into your animator. Let's drag our project back up here, and you go into your animations for our main character. If we add another clip, animations, and let's call this jumping slash, well, let's call it jumping directional. Okay. And let's say you just wanted it to be like maybe that. Let's say, okay, let's do that, right? You could have it so. This might be easier than I thought it'd be, so let's have a look. Okay. So this is the animation. I've pressed play. It's just that, right? Okay. That's all the animation is, okay? So let's drag our project back down here. We have this jumping directional, right? So if we go make transition to here, this is looking so messy. And then make transition to here, right? So if we say, now dragging the animator back over here, clicking on the inspector. If we say that it has two parameters, right? One is that speed is greater than 0.01, and one is that jumping equals true, right? And then this here, it just has one condition again, which is jumping equals false. Let's see if that works. Okay, we'll drag it back over here. And let's press play. Okay, so we're walking, up, down, no. Okay, let's pause. Okay, drag this back over here. Can't believe I'm getting bogged down in this, but we are. Okay, first thing first is we want for the actual animation, we want to, we obviously want fixed duration, transition duration 0. I mean, we can set, no, that doesn't matter. Okay, and then we want here, no exit time, right? All of these have no exit time on them, did I? Has exit time. Okay, right. Now, we do have to actually, we have to add something to here. So if we go end, is, can we go speed isn't? What happens if we go speed is greater than and less than 0? It's greater than 0 or less than 0. What does that do? Oh, you drag the animator over here. Why isn't there a speed equals 0 situation? Why isn't there equals? Okay, let's try. Oh, that's not transitioning at all, but we don't really care about that. Oh, that's actually, yeah. I don't mind that. Okay, there you go. He's facing the direction. I actually think I just... Oh, but... If you don't fully stop... Let's say you go like that. Oh, no, that worked. When he stops. There's a little bit of a delay. No, that's not too bad. Anyway, that is what it is. That's animations, basically, in a nutshell. Fiddling around the images and your transitions. I think I've cut... unfortunately, it does look like there isn't... I don't know why it's not saying as a possible equal. Like, I don't know why equal isn't an option. But it isn't. So that's it. That's animations. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got how to animate off the thing. Yeah, it's not too tricky, really. It's kind of just about playing around with some booleans and some transitions. So that's all from me for this video.